Hello friends, welcome back to another time management hack. This hack is something that I find a lot of people that I used to work with never did, and every day I'd see them paying the price for that. And what this hack is looking ahead, and I think of it kind of two ways, kind of at a more macro level of looking at it seasonally, and then also on a weekly level. And I'll explain what that means. I love the visual of thinking about an iceberg. The infamous story of the Titanic sinking when they hit an iceberg. And the reason is on a foggy night, their lookouts couldn't see far enough ahead. So really, in terms of time management, looking ahead is avoiding those big icebergs that can really bring you down. So if you think about this seasonally, we're, as I'm filming this is towards the end of August, back to school season is just starting. And, often people think of back to school solely as a kid's thing, but really in the business world, everyone's coming back from vacations. And if you're operating on a fiscal calendar that mirrors the annual calendar, it's the last quarter of the year coming up, and it's your opportunity to make or break your business and meet your numbers or miss your numbers. So if we think about looking out for the remainder of the year from September to December in your company, what are some of the things you'd be looking at? Well, what are your goals? Where do you stand currently? Are you falling short, or are you exceeding what's working, what's not working? And you can put a mini plan in place for the balance of the year. You can also review vacation schedules. So we're coming out of the summer period where presumably people have taken vacation. But if you're anything like me, heading into the end of the year, I typically had vacation left over and would have to plan on how to use that. And the same was true for the people on my teams. So it's a great time as a team leader to sit down with your people, take a lay of the land, remind them of how many vacation days they have left, and try to put a plan in place. Nothing's worse than trying to cram in vacation days at the end of the year where you're basically just wasting them because you're just use them or lose them kind of mentality. And a lot of companies don't allow much carryover anymore. So it's a wonderful time to kind of get those vacation plans laid out. And that way, too, you can manage and stagger the time off that people get so that your team is still resourced properly and can get things done at this critical time of year. Typically, we have goals for ourselves as we head into a year. And now that you're heading into the final stretch here, it's a good opportunity to review how you've done on those goals, particularly when it comes to training and development. The clock is ticking and you only have a few months left to go in the year. If you want to hit those goals, you better get those things scheduled into your calendar sooner rather than later, particularly training programs that may run over the course of 4, 8, or 12 weeks. You really want to get that in before the end of the calendar year so you can meet your goals. And when you're meeting with your boss and reviewing your performance objectives and so on for the year, you can have those taken care of. Similarly for your team, reviewing their goals with them and coming up with a similar plan for them. So that takes care of kind of the seasonal way of thinking about looking ahead. On a weekly basis, I like this practice of looking ahead as well. Typically, I would do this late on Thursday afternoon, is start getting my head around what's happening next week and the next maybe 2 or 3 weeks. What are the things I want to accomplish in the coming week? How many meetings do I have scheduled? Is there time I can block off to accomplish certain things? Are there team members that are on vacation? Do I have to make sure that plans are in place for those folks? I had many experiences when I worked in corporations where people would forget that somebody had a vacation scheduled until literally the day before they were leaving or the first day they weren't there. And they spent the whole time scrambling while that person was on vacation. When you're looking out ahead 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks at a time, you can prepare properly for all of those eventualities. Another benefit of looking ahead is you can find opportunities. So in one of the companies I worked for, we had quarterly business review meetings. And because I was looking out far enough ahead, I would know when those were scheduled, and I could inquire with my boss if there was an opportunity to present at those meetings. It was a great opportunity for me to get exposure for myself, for what my team was working on, what we were accomplishing, how important our area was to the overall business. And it gave me some great experience doing presentations, public speaking, and just in general, getting to know a much broader base of people across the business than I would have if I just sat in the audience the whole time and not participated in those things. And because I was far enough ahead of the planning cycle, I could typically get on the agenda. And even if I wasn't presenting, often it would lead to me helping prepare materials and so on for my boss. So I still had a role. My team still had visibility across the business to what it is that we were working on. So that's a great benefit of looking ahead, is identifying where there's opportunities for you to achieve your goals and get more exposure for yourself and your team And it's just a great practice. Something's coming to mind about looking ahead. My kids have just been taking driver training. There's a sub-habit in their driver training called I lead time, and it's about how far ahead you're looking. And it's the same thing here with time management. If you want to avoid obstacles and dangers coming down the road, you need to be looking far enough ahead to see them and give yourself plenty of time to react and respond. That's exactly what this hack is talking about, is looking far enough ahead in your schedule that you see things well before they're on top of you, and you can react, either avoid them entirely or have the resources in place and so on to deal with them appropriately. This hack is super helpful in business, but also in your personal life. Have you ever missed an anniversary or a birthday or your kid's sports, things like that? Looking ahead at those things is extremely helpful as well. I've got my wife's birthday coming up at the end of the month, and looking ahead and knowing that's coming, I can plan appropriately. I can talk with my kids. We can kind of devise a little plan for what we want to do. Is it going to be a surprise? Are we going out? Are we inviting people over? And we give ourselves plenty of time to make that happen. My daughter's moving away to university in a couple weeks, so we have that to plan for as well. And that's something, it doesn't seem like the kind of thing that would necessarily sneak up on you, but if you think about planning that ahead and things you got to buy, and the whole world is in the same boat, people that age. So when you go to the store too late, nothing's in stock and so on. So, we've planned ahead. We've bought her a mini fridge and things for her room and so on well in advance. And that's because we've been looking ahead and we know that that's an iceberg that's coming our way. So again, this hack is super helpful both in business and in your personal life. The best way to get the benefit of looking ahead is just to start doing it. So I would recommend you put in your calendar a time. For me, it was always, say, Thursday afternoon around 3 or 4 o'clock. Block off 30 minutes or 60 minutes and spend that time really focusing on the upcoming 1 to 4 weeks. What's coming up? What are the big rocks that need to be accomplished and focused on? And getting your head around what's going to happen over the course of those 4 weeks. Hopefully you find this time management hack helpful. Thanks for listening. Now go unleash your potential.